There's a difference between a woman who is scared of losing you and a woman who is dangerous. Most men figure it out way too late. They stay too long with women who are destroying them, or they leave women who are actually amazing for them. Maybe you've done both. You met someone. She was incredible at first, affectionate, attentive, made you feel like the center of her world. Then something changed. Mood swings, guilt trips, arguments that came out of nowhere, and you found yourself apologizing for things you didn't even do, walking on eggshells in your own relationship and feeling like roommates in your own home. Or maybe she was quiet, nervous, overly accommodating, and you thought she was laying traps. You thought she was manipulating you, so you pulled away, and she was just scared of losing you. Most men can't tell the difference, and it costs them years either way. I'm Adam Lane Smith, the attachment specialist, and I've spent over 16 years of training and experience helping men and women understand relationship dynamics. I've worked with thousands of people who came to me confused, exhausted, and questioning their own judgment. In this video, I'm going to show you the 7 signs of an actually manipulative pattern, how to tell the difference between fear and danger, and my 3-date method for figuring out what you're dealing with before you're invested. Now, before I show you the 7 signs, let me tell you about the one thing that shows up on date number 1 or 2 that most men completely miss. It's sex. As fast as possible, or the exact opposite, vicious, firm opposition to any kind of touch whatsoever. She's very explicitly cold in a way that makes you crave her approval. Both of these are warning signs. Now, let's be very clear. A healthy woman engaging in dating will say something along the lines of this: "Hey, just a heads up, I don't do sex and bonding like that early on because it bonds you and makes you kind of drunk. I'm not interested in doing that until a certain period of time, so I actually want to spend time getting to know you. Can we do that? How do you feel about that?" Clear, calm, direct. "Hey, heads up, no thank you, but let's talk and build trust first." A manipulative woman will either flood you with intensity to hook you as fast as possible, or she will withhold coldly to make you crave her approval. There's a big difference, but both of them lead to the same thing. Let me show you the patterns that slowly reveal themselves over time. Now, right before we get to the 7 signs, first you need to understand something about your own biology. The problem isn't that manipulative women are smarter than you. The problem is that your brain was designed to fall for exactly what they do. First is love bombing. Your brain is wired for intermittent reinforcements. It's the same mechanism that makes gambling addictive. When someone is hot and cold, your dopamine system goes haywire trying to predict how to get the next big hit. That uncertainty creates a chemical cocktail that feels like passion. It's not only dopamine, it's an oxytocin bonding hormone reinforced with dopamine. Together, you feel a sense of love and belonging and safety with overwhelming pleasure. This isn't love, this is addiction. What's actually happening in your nervous system is this. First, she's sweet, sickeningly sweet. Oxytocin and dopamine floods your system. Then something happens and she pulls away or creates drama. Your cortisol spikes. You go through chemical withdrawals as dopamine and oxytocin are yanked out of your system, and you feel like you're dying. You will do anything to make that better again. So you please her. Then she comes back. Massive relief. Your brain tags that relief as connection and love. It's a massive jackpot. I did all that work, she's happy, and I feel safe and loved again. This is your addiction. But it's not connection or love. It's just the pain stopping. This is a neurochemical slot machine. You start punching the button on the slot machine hoping for a jackpot. And just as it begins to wear off, and just as it's too much and you start to think, maybe I should stop, you get a small jackpot that loops you back in again. Men are particularly vulnerable to this because men bond through vasopressin, the commitment hormone. Vasopressin activates when you solve problems together. A manipulative woman creates problems constantly and forces you into solving them, and then makes you feel like she worked with you to overcome your stupidity and your bad behavior. A manipulative woman will keep you fixing the relationship and hopping and running desperately trying to please her. Your brain keeps releasing bonding chemicals every time you think you've made progress. By the way, this is called a trauma bond. The biggest thing I want you to pull from this right now is that that intense feeling is not love. It's gambling. It's addiction. It's your nervous system in survival mode. Real love does not feel this way. Real love is not a roller coaster in that way. Real love feels like coming home and resting. So let's go through the 7 signs of real, honest manipulation. First is what we call covert contracts, the secret contracts. This is the most common one and honestly the most invisible up until a certain point. What it looks like is this. She does nice things for you, she takes care of you, cooks, cleans, is sexually available at all times, very sexually adventurous, especially at the beginning of the relationship. Then suddenly, she's furious after everything I've done for you. All these little statements about what you owe her. Now, you had no idea there was a deal happening, but all of a sudden, you're being held to account for failing it. Now, what's actually happening here is that she's keeping a mental ledger that you can't see. Every act of love was actually a transaction. She expected payment in a currency you didn't know existed. So all that free sex, wildly, that you had on those first dates, sex that they would ban on the hub even, right? That still came with a bill. You have bills you can't see until they come in the mail and say, pay us or else. It's like owing money to the mafia. You have a lot of debt you didn't realize was now a threat to your life. Every act of love and intimacy now has a price tag, and you didn't agree to it in advance. She's now setting the prices in retrospect. That's what's happening inside this relationship. She makes sure that you know she feels cheated. You didn't pay. So guess what's about to happen? You will pay. Here's what most people miss. There's a version of this that isn't malicious, and then there's a version that is malicious. A woman who's overly nice and super accommodating, that is manipulation, but it's what we often call benign manipulation. It's anxious attachment. Anxiously attached women are manipulative, but not in a way that's trying to exploit. They will do 10 nice things for you, hoping for one in return. So at least it's a reasonable secret contract. It's not a $10,000 burger. It's a $20 burger. But she feeds you 10 of them, and it's a buffet. More reasonable, but still feels uncomfortable, because you never know what the price will be, and it could come due at any time. I had one coaching client who came into me, very avoidant man with an anxiously attached girlfriend, and he thought she was laying traps. He came in and said, Adam, I think she's going to say, gotcha, now you owe me. And he kept giving nice things to him. She loved him. She cared for him. He thought she was trying to get pregnant to trap him, but she was really just frozen. She was nervous. She was super accommodating, very agreeable. When they came in and talked, she was just like frozen solid. She was very anxiously attached. As I talked with her and did work with her, he began to realize, wow, she's not manipulating me. She's actually really afraid. She's more afraid of me than I am somehow. As they started setting clearer expectations, she started to calm down, and she could ask him what she wanted, and it was tiny things, more than reasonable. He started saying, you know, you can ask me for more. And she said, are you sure? She was so nervous. He didn't give her room to stay quiet for very long, though. He really said this, and in one of our sessions, he told her this. I really need to know more about you. I need you to explain. This is where he really saw that she wasn't intentionally manipulating or harming him. She was just really scared. So during our session, we guided her through a better conversation. He said, hey, what I'd really like from you is this. What would you want from me? And by the way, if we're going to make this work, I need you to be really explicit and be honest with me. Because he helped her through that, she vasopressed and bonded with him. And because she gave him clear expectations and his stress came down, he vasopressed and bonded with her. Tremendous loyalty. It turned into a great relationship. I got their wedding invitation. It was wonderful. That's the difference between manipulation and fear. Sign number 2 is scorekeeping. Now, this is the weaponized version of those covert contracts. It looks like this. Arguments where she lists everything she's ever done for you. I did X, I did Y, I did Z, and you can't even do this for me? Her past kindnesses become ammunition in present conflicts. But even worse, hers are hyperinflated while yours are dismissed. Yeah, but I did this and this. Well, those don't count. That's just a basic relationship. But hers, every little thing she's ever done is massively inflated times 10. Nothing is ever truly given. It's all on loan. Listen, every healthy relationship has a natural give and take. I've been married for 17 years. Like, you have to take care of each other. Unhealthy relationships have a balancing ledger where every person is adding up theirs and multiplying by 5. Unhealthy relationships, people remember every sacrifice. They bring all of them up the moment they feel slighted or want to cash in. This destroys relationships, okay? You can never be at zero with her. You're always going to be in debt. You're never going to do enough, because if you do 5 nice things to her 1, she'll inflate her 1 to times 6, and now she's ahead of you. Heavy, manipulative people will do this. Every act of care they give you comes with invisible interest. Eventually, you'll stop trying because nothing will ever be enough. Sign number 3 is the victim position. She's never the problem. It's always someone else. Every ex she ever had was a narcissist. Every job environment was toxic. Every friend betrayed her. Her parents were the worst. Everyone in her life has wronged her. Now, what's the common denominator in all of her failed relationships? It's her. If everyone she has ever known in the entire world was terrible, she either has catastrophic judgment or she's the one creating the patterns. The trap here, this feels like vulnerability when she first shares it. Most men hear this and say, oh my gosh, she's been so hurt. I'm going to be different. I'm going to protect her. And that's exactly what she's counting on, because now you're responsible for healing her. You're responsible for her happiness. You're responsible for not being one more monster. And let me be brutally clear here. When you inevitably fail, and you will because you're not perfect, you will become the next villain in her story and a perfect launching pad for finding the next man that she can sob about you. Now, if you're watching this and recognizing these patterns, either in someone that you're dating or in yourself, I need to tell you something. Spotting the signs, look, it's step 1. Actually building a relationship that works is step 2. And here's the thing, you can't think your way out of these patterns. Your nervous system learned them through experience, so it has to unlearn them through more experience. That's what the Relationship Mastery Intensive is. April 23rd to the 26th down in San Diego. 3 days of corrective experiences. You'll learn to regulate your own system so that you stop bonding to chaos. You'll practice the communication that filters out manipulation before you're invested, and you'll build the vasopressin bonds that create real loyalty. This is for people who are done just understanding the problems, who are ready to fix it, and are serious about never wasting another year. Now, space at this event is very limited, so the link's in the description below. Or, if you prefer self-guided programs, the Valentine's Day sale is also available. Make sure you click the link down in the description below to take advantage of those savings. Now, let me show you the signs next that reveal whether this relationship is just immature or something more dangerous. Sign number 4 is guilt-based communication. We've talked about this briefly, but it gets so much worse here. This is how manipulative women get you to abandon your own boundaries, okay? It looks like, if you really loved me, blank. I guess I'm just not important to you. I guess I just love you more than you love me. Fine, do whatever you want. I'll just be here alone. It's guilt. You are hurting me by existing. How dare you? Now, we've all seen examples of this, whether in our lives or on social media. It's the heavy sighs. It's tears that appear on command, especially if she gets caught doing something inappropriate. It's emotional withdrawal timed perfectly. Some women are masters at this. They turn their back on you and look away like this, and they won't look at you again, no matter what you do, until you please them and gravel and beg. The mechanism here is that she makes you feel guilty for having needs, for having boundaries, for anything that isn't a complete and total focus on her. Your nervous system starts to associate your own needs with shame. This goes beyond the covert contracts we talked about a little bit earlier, and instead focuses on, how dare you not cater to me? How dare you not be ready at a moment's notice to give me complete and total graveling attention? Now, healthy communication looks more like this. Hey, sweetheart, I need more quality time with you. Can we talk about how to make that happen? Direct, clear, no emotional manipulation. She states what she needs, you discuss it like adults, you find a solution together. That's how a healthy woman is going to speak to you. Sign number 5 of manipulation. She forces you to apologize for things you didn't really do. Now, this is the moment your brain chemistry really shifts against you. What happens when you're forced to apologize for something you didn't do is brutal. In childhood, being forced to apologize for something you didn't do teaches you were forced into submission. You're forced to cater to others' emotions. You're a slave. You're not allowed to feel or think. Even your dignity can be stripped from you. This is actually what makes a lot of men very avoidant usually in their lifetime, but some men instead go the other direction and say, well, maybe I am really not worthy of it. So they find a woman who treats them as if she's not worthy of it. Now, as she's forcing you to cater to her feelings, she's not so much a partner, she's a problem to be solved. She's a threat who's going to attack you. She's a governor over you, and you are subservient to her. This is a fear of something we call engulfment. I will be controlled and swallowed by your feelings. You will use me to regulate. Now, there's a very big difference between human co-regulation and coercive soothing. In human co-regulation, two nervous systems are calming for each other, sometimes alternately, but they each calm the other one down with safety. Coercive soothing, you are forced into soothing their emotions at the expense of your nervous system and emotions, forced to manage their feelings, usually through guilt, pressure, shame, and hurt. Some research indicates that young women in college are the most likely to commit intimate partner violence, even of a sexual nature, because they will force their boyfriend to cater to her and give her kisses and hugs and love and attention to prove that he cares about her. College-aged women might actually be the most sexually coercive people on the planet. This is an interesting statistic that most people will disagree with because it sounds so counterintuitive, but when you factor in things like kissing, snuggling, and hand-holding, then you realize, wow, you are actually forcing physical affection to make you feel better. A lot of men will not report this unless you specifically ask, has she ever made you do this? And you don't pitch it as a victim mentality. Most men will actually deny it if you pitch it as a victim sort of approach. Now, these things are very different, okay? Being forced to regulate someone at your expense versus nurturing and caring for each other at different times. Coercive soothing does something very, very, very bad to you chemically. It forces you to release a flood of cortisol. Cortisol begins eating away at vasopressin and oxytocin bonding, the bonding chemicals that actually keep you in a relationship, and instead it forms what's called a cortisol association against that person. We don't solve problems together. You are my problem. Now, this begins eroding any sense of safety. It erodes trust. This is actually a good thing. It's the reason your system does it is to push back on manipulators. It's supposed to unbond you from them. If someone is using force-based language, you will yield to me, your brain is deciding to say, not forever. Every time you apologize for something you didn't do, you lose a piece of that bond. You also lose a piece of yourself. Sign number 6 is testing that never resolves. Some degree of testing is normal in relationships, okay? Especially women who are looking for safety. They want to make sure they feel safe. But what's not normal is brutal testing that never ends. Healthy testing looks like early in a relationship, people seeing if you're safe. Can I test my needs? Can I express my thoughts? Will you respect me? If I get sad or scared, will you comfort me gently because you love me? Once you pass that test, the relationship moves forward. Testing resolves into trust, and testing should diminish over time. Now, sometimes we feel weak or needy, and we reach out for some reassurance. But it usually says, hey, I'm feeling really low today. Can we spend a little bit of time together? It would mean a lot. That's what testing looks like in a healthy relationship. The key difference is that a healthy woman who's been hurt by something you may have done should be asking you questions. Honest curiosity, maybe nervous curiosity, but she's trying to understand. She wants to clarify. Why is this happening? What went wrong here? What do we do? Like, what did I do? What did you do? How do we make sure this doesn't happen again? That's proper testing, right? Women are allowed to be hurt. They're allowed to need reassurance. They're allowed to have bad days. They need to test for safety. Men need to be providing it. beautiful. But it should be a calm, clear, transparent conversation where you both resolve and you both feel better afterward. A woman who's testing for power is trying to get leverage over you. She's trying to form something where you owe her. She's trying to one-up you. She's playing gotcha games. She's litigating like a lawyer. She's navigating around what you say, checking in, tracking, mocking you because she found a loophole in your defense. And that's the difference. Honest curiosity versus litigating gotcha games and leverage. And sign number 7, you're a vending machine to her. This is the final sign. It's the one that reveals everything. Some questions to ask yourself right now. Are you a vending machine in her life, or are you somebody that she talks with and solves problems with? Those are two different things. Even an emotional vending machine counts. What do I mean by vending machine? Well, when you manipulate somebody, you use a part of your brain that activates objects and tools. She pushes buttons to get outcomes. I want him to spend time with me, so first I will sleep with him. I want him to do this, so first I will do this. It didn't get what I wanted, so now I will pout and be angry, and then he feels bad and gives me what I want. Push button, receive outcome, right? Push button, receive candy bar. Vending machine. She's more invested in the results than the relationship because you're not a person, you're a vending machine with buttons for her to get what she wants out of you. In this relationship, the man exists to produce attention, produce validation, produce security, produce money, produce status, whatever it may be. When you don't produce, she escalates. A healthy partnership is the opposite. She works with you as a human being while still being calm and gentle and loyal. She's genuinely curious and tries to understand your perspective. She's also very clear about what she wants. Yes, I would like these things. Is that okay with you? What do you also need from me? How do I take care of you? It doesn't have to be a one-for-one transaction. It's let's mutually take care of each other. These are 3 things I need. What 3 things do you also need? She's curious, she's gentle, she's loyal, she's clear, she's transparent. Everything is very clear and on the surface. She's not pushing your buttons to get things out of you. That's why you can trust her kindness. By the way, problems get solved together. Instead of weaponizing against you, she tries to understand and wants to work with you. So let's check in here. Where is the woman in your life most motivated and most invested? Is it the outcomes or the relationship with you as a human being? If she's more interested in what you can do for her and she can get than who you actually are, you have your answer. So how do you figure out what you're dealing with before you're really invested? Well, for those of you who are just beginning dating, I do have a 3-date method that cuts through the confusion very fast. On date 1, you clarify around commitment and what it looks like. You ask her bluntly, do you want a committed relationship? And if you do, what does that look like to you? Date number 2, you ask her things like, what are you building in your life? What are you sacrificing to get there? This reveals her values, her direction, her priorities. Also be asking her about the relationships in her life and what that looks like. If everyone around her is a villain and she's the only good person, you've got a serious problem. Now, date number 3 is where it gets real. What challenges are you facing in your life right now? What hardships? What difficulties? And what are you doing to overcome them? This shows you if she's even willing to admit she has imperfections, and it shows you how she handles those difficulties. Does she take ownership? Does she blame everyone else? 3 dates, 3 questions, you'll know what you're working with. Now, there is one more test that reveals everything, and you can do this without feeling like an interrogation. Okay, this one's very important. At some point, you need to ask these questions. Tell me about your exes. Tell me about your family. Tell me about the people in your family you don't like. Tell me about some challenges you're facing, especially with other people. Who's somebody in your life that you like, and who's somebody in your life that annoys you? Then listen. Listen to her answers. What you're listening for is this. How does she discuss other people? Does she talk about them like humans who've made mistakes? Or does she mock them, belittle them, hold them in contempt as filth? That's a really great way to see how she treats people who have inconvenienced her. Here's why you need to run this test. The Gottmans show us that contempt is the #1 predictor of divorce. I will also say this, it's one of the biggest predictors of misery in a relationship. Even if you don't get married, eventually you will inconvenience her, and she will talk about you the same way she talks about all those other people. Eventually, she will sneer when she says your name and said, "That guy's a narcissist." Now, quick pause here because some of you are watching this video right now on Valentine's Day and you're alone. Maybe you just got out of something or you're still in something, but you're alone today, and maybe you're even relieved. Here's what I need you to hear. Okay, the truth. Your nervous system takes some time to recalibrate after leaving a relationship. Now, it depends almost entirely on the quality of friend and family bonds that you have. Your system needs to learn not everyone on the planet is evil and hurtful. These people in your life are good. I'm love. There's a very big problem with men and women of villainizing the opposite side and saying every woman is manipulative, every man is evil. When we get out of relationships, it certainly can feel that way. You need to remember, there are good people who love you of both sexes. If you have that, you can recalibrate fairly quickly. If you're alone and isolated, you won't recalibrate. You'll be stuck. You'll be miserable for a very long time. Some of my clients who come to me spend 10 years utterly alone because they never recalibrate, and they eventually just get so lonely they can't handle it anymore. Or you can spend a couple of months with love, with family, with friends, with connection. Your choice. Okay, what I need you to do right now, if you're all alone, invest in friends and family relationships, not just because it fixes and works on you, but because they can also vet your partner for you, or your next partner. They can tell you a very clear truth about whether or not you're being manipulated or not. They're going to be your best guardians. Invest in them now. Recalibrate, recover, and make sure you're using your relationships to the fullest. Now you have the framework. You know what to look for. You know the 3-date method. You know how to test for contempt. But here's what you really need to understand. The majority of women are not out there to hurt you. They're actually afraid you're going to hurt them. And you don't need 500 correct dating matches either. You need one correct match with someone who's actually willing to work with you as a human being. Someone who respects your dignity. Someone who solves problems together as a couple. That's what you're looking for. Make sure you take some time and get it right. And if you're ready to master this and actually build the skills to create a relationship that works, that's what we do at the Relationship Mastery Intensive. That's going to be in San Diego, April 23rd to the 26th. 3 days where you build the skills, the nervous system regulation, the direct communication, the vasopressin bonding that you need for a loving, committed relationship. Now, this is for committed people only, people who are done wasting years on relationships that were never going to work. Space is very limited, so make sure you click the link down below in the description to get some information. Or if you prefer self-guided programs with exact tools that you need to break free from attachment trauma and codependency, build a relationship based on mutual respect and not sacrifice, learn how to set boundaries that actually strengthen love, and all the other pieces we've talked about here in this video, then we've put together a limited time Valentine's sale just for you on some of our top relationship programs. The link to check out that bundle is down in the description as well. Now, I made a video on how men actually bond neurochemically. If you want to understand why some relationships work and others destroy you, that's the one to watch. It's on screen now, and I'll see you in there. Like and subscribe so you don't miss any video. Thank you for watching.